Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I'd be okay if it weren't for that bitch Carol Baskins. Trying to shut me down.
Carol
fucking Baskin.
That fat bitch.
That bitch. I know she put her husband to that tiger.
How's all my cat people doing?
I'm going to have so much editing to do on this podcast. So much.
How's all my dudes and dudettes doing out there today?
My kids. Just
hey, all you cool nerds.
Cool cats. And
hey, all you cool
kitties. And
kitty kittens.
Hey, all you salty nerds.
I'm Carol Baskin here, walking around my cute kitty cat lake.
Kitty cat meow.
Today we're going to learn how to cut a husband up and put him through a meat grinder and feed him to the kitties.
Oh, no.
I'll live tweet it for all you cool cats.
I only let my elite purple troopers do the feeding
After you donated $10,000
in 20,000 hours.
and $20,000.
And help me cover up a murder.
Yeah. You get a gold
shirt.
Get a gold shirt.
And get some dirt on that Joe Exotic, man.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Tiger King South Park episode.
Salty's just beyond disgusted with us
That's
right now.
freaking seven hours of my life I will
Did you
never get
finish
back.
it?
Yeah, I
I'm
finished it.
so proud of you.
I know.
The entire time, Alex is just like, I hate everyone
I
on this
hate
show.
everybody. The only people. Okay, so the guy that was I felt like I was on a level with him. Was the guy with the long blonde hair who just didn't give a fuck about anything. How many wives do you think that guy had? I don't give a fuck. I was like, yeah. That was my man. He didn't give a shit about anybody. He was like, whatever. What is this stupid documentary you guys are doing? Can I go back to work yet? I love that guy. He was the best character. And
He was high as in the last episode.
Was he drunk or high? I thought
He was high.
Yeah, he was
definitely high.
toasted. Pretty bad.
Wouldn't you be, though?
So we got a shout out this week from another Orville cast member.
Oh, I haven't even heard it yet.
Peter McCone
It was pretty good. He was in character.
played Bortus.
Greetings. This is Lieutenant Commander Bortus of the USS Orville with a special transmission for the Salty Nerd Podcast. I wish you to know that when I Jaloja once a year, Salty Nerd Podcast is the only podcast that helps for the relief. Jaloja!
That's awesome.
I'm probably going to go to Jaloja here in a little while.
It does help for the relief.
It does.
I listen to it on the toilet all the time.
That is
too,
my
actually.
man.
I scroll through our YouTube channel and see all 4 views, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we're doing things right.
It's all about the integrity.
Hey, that's better than 0 views.
It's true. It's mostly ours, right?
Which means we can do anything we want because no one cares.
Nobody owns us. Oh, speaking of owning people, I did.
What'd you get?
Who do you own?
All the sponsorships. Salty.
Yeah. Speaking of owning people,
Your ass. You're mine now.
we sponsored Hacks.
Hey, little girl.
Well, that got weird.
Carol fucking Baskins.
We'll talk about the sex cult from Tiger King in a minute. But quick, do a shout out to Hacks Dogma. We have sponsored his Westworld videos. Awesome YouTuber who does fantastic breakdowns of a very confusing show. And the only reason why I understand that show as much as I do is because of him and because of his videos. So go check out Hacks Dogma on YouTube. Great breakdowns.
I don't get all you guys who are confused by this show.
Well,
it's very straightforward
You're a
to me.
brainiac.
Oh, here we
right?
go.
Brainiac writer who writes novels for a living.
Uses fancy ass words in Twitter chats and things.
Used to live in Hollywood.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's
what
season.
was-
Come
what
on, you
was
have
the
to
word
admit,
again?
season 2 was a little confusing. Like there were so many subplots.
It wasn't confusing. It was just very dense.
It was more confusing
The
than
only
first season.
thing,
You're very dense.
Oh, yeah?
the only episodes
You're dense.
the only episodes that really confused me were seasons 1 through 3.
It's a good show, but
So what are we talking about on today's show, Alex?
oh yeah, that's right. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I am your host, the Salty Nerd. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing Tiger King, that Joe Exotic psychopath, and his bitch Carol.
And that bitch Carol Baskins. Kitty cats.
Can't even get through it.
Kitty cat. No, I can't. And then what else we're gonna talk
Westworld.
about? Westworld.
Nothing else, just
episode
Tiger
3.
King.
You guys are gonna make
Two
me talk
straight
about it.
hours.
Tiger King, Westworld, and
And then we're
Picard.
gonna dump some salt on Picard.
As long as our according to Kadish analysis is salient, then we'll be okay.
Salient.
That was the word.
Salient.
What the fuck is salient mean?
Is that like saline solution?
Like this,
like
these
the
are
salty
the
solution?
texts we get. We need to have a salient discussion about the goods and the bads of the Picard shows. I can't even say it right without sounding stupid.
The goods is and the bad
Goods is and the bads is and
and the just in cases.
salient. Okay.
I weep for our school system.
Well, that was,
People don't
I
have
graduated
basic
older than
30
you.
years ago.
Isn't he? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
By 9 years.
Really? God damn, you're
I
old.
think I'm old. I'm an old ass.
Yeah, you are. It's good for you, man.
It's like I was talking earlier today about the wonders of river dance on Twitter and how nobody remembers that anymore. So,
I remember river dancing.
Remember.
dancing.
Yeah, my parents used to watch
I
that.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember.
I
What is
remember.
that from? You sent me like.
South Park.
Is it?
Member
Okay, I
berries.
never watched
Member?
South
Member
Park.
berries.
I remember.
Remember?
Don't
It's
you remember?
funny, but I never
Remember?
watched South Park.
Isn't South Park older than you?
Probably.
I think it is.
I'm only 12.
Came out when I was
You
in
know.
college, where I learned my words.
Anyway,
Say
all
that.
right, let's get this over with. Friggin' Tiger King. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this show is only as popular as it is right now because nobody can fucking leave their house.
That's very true.
And there's no
Disagree.
other options.
Wholeheartedly disagree.
You know, it's a lot. There are some similarities between it and Making a Murderer, where when Making a Murderer came out, it came out over Christmas break, where like everyone was just at home
Yeah.
with nothing to do,
Yeah.
and so they just binged Making a Murderer. And it's the same thing now, where like everyone was cooped up at home. Let's set the stage for Tiger King.
Oh, how does that set the stage
Yeah,
for
let's
Joe
set the
Exotic?
If there's anyone who has not watched it yet because you live under a rock or don't have Netflix
We
or
don't care.
something, allow us to.
Don't-
It's a docudrama
Don't do
on
it.
Netflix that focuses on the exotic cat subculture. And in particular, one person from the subculture, his name is Joe Exotic, who's a gun-toting gay magician / country music singer
Ish.
What did
/ former gubernatorial candidate
/ reality star.
/ reality star.
What did Jeremy Johns call him? He said if Joe Dirt and Siegfried and Roy had a kid, it would be
it'd be
Joe Exotic.
He's very flamboyant. He's very proud of his mullet, his dyed blonde mullet.
That's his sex appeal, baby.
And he's always strapped. He always carries around a 6-shooter.
Two of them.
Yeah, 2 of them. And he hates that bitch Carol Baskins.
There's this blood feud between Joe Exotic,
Hatfield and McCoy style.
yeah, like just awful blood feud because Joe Exotic wants to just make a shit ton of money doing weird stuff with animals and having a little weird sex cult. And Carol
no,
Baskins,
not him.
he has a sex
cancel.
that 19-year-old surfer kid. You think that was like a not
He married both of those gentlemen, sir.
at the same time?
Doc Ansel's the one with the sex.
Yes, he
Yeah.
has a sex cult too, but
I
so does
cannot wait for them to make a documentary
Joe Exotic
about him.
has a gay sex cult.
a gay sex cult.
No,
And
he just takes hard luck cases out of prison and gives them jobs in Walmart bologna.
Yeah, neither of those dudes were gay.
It's like, hey there, get off that bus. Why don't you come over to my place and make some burgers, and I'll give you some
this good meth.
beef sticks, and I'll give you $20 a week and room and board. And they're all, okay, got any meth? I'll do it if you got some
He's like,
meth.
hell yeah, I got that. And they're like, where do I sign?
Best deal I'm ever gonna get.
About cigarettes, I give you cigarettes half price. And I'm like, okay.
I tell you, one of the
There's
most
some rotten meat with the pizzas.
For real.
one of the most interesting things in this
Ashley?
documentary for me was the insight into Walmart's meat process, where it's like if you go up to the register to buy meat and you change your mind, they can't legally put it back on the shelves, so they just get rid of it. And so Joe Exotic, in order to cut down on the cost of feeding all of his tigers, would get all this like expired and secondhand meat from Walmart, and his employees would get first dibs on
I don't
it.
think it's expired or secondhand. It's just stuff that didn't get bought.
Well, it's expired. That's why it didn't get bought.
I didn't always get that impression.
Well, that's what they said. It was either expired or it was stuff that they couldn't reshelf.
Either or.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that meat.
Yeah.
Got some prime pieces in there.
Are you upset because you had some and you're trying to make it okay?
He wants to try and get in on that deal.
Yeah.
But they would just have these truckloads of like expired meat that they would feed to the tigers.
Yeah,
it was very interesting.
But they would let the workers like pick through it first and take what they want.
And then they would put it on the
steaks in
pizza
there, man.
for the people to come and eat it. It's so
Uh-huh.
weird. These people are, I'm sorry, but they're just the scum of the earth.
Hey, now be careful. You're talking about the entire southern part of the United States.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the people in the show. The main stars of the show. You got Carol Baskin, who killed her husband. You got the other sex cult
bitch
dude.
Whoa.
Killed her husband.
Did anyone prove that?
Allegedly.
Slow
Allegedly
your roll,
killed her
man.
husband.
So can we talk about?
You're going to get sued by Carol Baskin if you keep talking that.
She can have everything
She's
I
going to
have.
come after you.
Can we talk about the accusation that she killed her? Like what was the story
Yeah.
behind that?
Okay,
She was married to this guy.
A millionaire.
Yeah, a lot of
a
money.
millionaire.
Yeah.
Who is he? The one who started the cat sanctuary?
Yes.
Okay. So he started this big cat rescue.
Well, no.
And she-
It was basically the same thing as what
Yeah, it
Joe
was a zoo.
Exotic was doing. She wanted to go the route of turning it into a rescue.
And he wanted to make money.
Okay. So, I mean, she's still making money off of it, though, right? So it's very hypocritical of her to be...
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just a giant.
It actually looks like it's like worse. You know, it's just as bad of conditions for the cats.
Yeah, her setup was not as nice as Joe Exotic's.
All I know is if I ever move to Florida, I'm going to get a blue shirt. Okay?
Dude, Florida is weird.
Freaking weird.
It's so
Absolutely.
weird.
But anyway, Carol Baskin's first husband, who was this millionaire who set up the first cat rescue, just disappears one day after telling all of his friends that he's worried for his life because he doesn't trust his wife. He thinks his wife, Carol Baskin, is going to kill him. And so, like, he just up and disappears, and Carol Baskin has him legally declared dead and gets all of his money. And his entire family's like, that bitch killed him. And all of his friends are like, that bitch killed him. And she's like, hey, all you cool cats and kittens, I didn't kill him. He just disappeared one day.
Just up and left.
She's like, he had a girlfrind in Puerto Rico.
Did you see the meme of that guy watching Netflix on the Puerto Rico beach sipping a
Yeah.
And so Joe Exotic, who has this terrible feud with Carol Baskins, he's like, that bitch killed her husband, fed him to a tiger.
That was his theory.
Put it through me,
That was his
grinder.
theory,
Yeah, fed him to, and then they had this whole weird conversation. There was a moment where she was something had happened to Joe. Somebody put something on his boots, and she was like,
so what happened was a tiger attacked Joe, grabbed him by the foot, and tried to drag him away. And he accused someone of like putting something on his foot to try to attract the tiger to attack him. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the documentary guy. He was like, you know, like, how can you even train a tiger to attack a human being? Like, there's nothing that you can use that appeals to them. And then it cuts to Carol Baskin. She's like, oh, you put a little sardine oil on something, make the tiger just go right for it. What's great about this series is like they show like so many different sides of the same thing. Like they don't, you know, as much as we're making fun of Carol Baskin, they actually show like her side of things. Mm-hmm. And so you never quite know where to fall on, like, you know, whose side you're actually on.
Here's the thing with me on this is like the Joe Exotic stuff. He just comes off as a cuckoo, nutso, crazy guy, just like he's portrayed. Carol Baskin comes off as somebody who's hiding some shit. Mm-hmm. She really does. It's just that stupid little nervous giggle she does, and the way she portrays herself. She's guilty as hell. I really honestly think she's guilty. I really do.
Well, you know what's funny about this show is like when Jude and I first started watching. So originally I asked her, I was like, hey, you want to watch this series? And she's always like, show me the trailer. Because that's how she judges based, you know, whether she wants to proceed.
As it should be.
I thought you wanted him to watch it.
No, he showed it to me first.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we get to the point.
Does it matter? We just both decided
No, not at all.
together.
you know who made me watch
unit.
it? You three.
So we get to the point where Joe Exotic is on top of a truck strumming a guitar, singing a country song about a
music
tiger,
videos.
and Jude's like, yes,
I was
must watch this.
I am in.
Yeah. So the show, like, we start watching the first episode, and the first episode's okay. Like, it introduces us to this weird subculture of people who collect these exotic pets. And we're just like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then like we get to the next episode and it keeps escalating. We're just like, this can't get any weirder. And then we find out, oh, Carol Baskins might have murdered her husband and fed his body to a tiger. And then it's like, oh, someone committed suicide. Oh, someone runs a sex cult. Oh,
Oh, this guy, the movie Scarface was based
Yeah,
on him.
yeah.
And just every 15 minutes, it was like,
oh, now he's running for
holy
mayor.
shit.
Oh, now he's running for governor. Oh,
Yeah,
now he's
yeah.
contracting a killer to take out his main rival.
yeah. Oh, he lit all of his alligators
He's on fire.
That was totally him, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you look the way he walks, I mean, he was wearing a big puffy coat to try to
Oh, when
hide
he
it,
burned the house
The
down?
studio down,
The
yeah.
studio with all the stuff in it, yeah.
yeah, and alligators.
And all of that footage that they had filmed prior to that. And I was like, how much other shit could they have gotten on film about these people?
Yeah, you know what's fascinating here so this documentary was made by the same crew who did the Fire Festival documentary. And if you've ever seen the Fire
Is that
Festival,
the one that like just didn't happen?
yeah. So if you've ever seen the Fire Festival documentary, it's fascinating
Yeah.
because like they have all types of like inside like personal video and stuff like you just wonder like how did they get all this stuff? And when I was watching the Tiger King documentary, it felt like everything was videotaped. Like they had so much access to like pretty much everything Joe Exotic ever did. And
Well,
But he filmed
explained
everything
it.
he did anyway.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
explained it at the beginning. They said this guy has a camera on him 24/7.
Never does it.
and because of that, the documentary is so in depth. Like you just like you. There's actually a part in the show where,
There's no
where they
I appreciate the fact that there's no recreations. Like
Yeah.
we're recreating
Yeah.
this.
But-
no, you straight up see
Yeah.
this happen.
There's a scene in the documentary where they actually show someone killing themselves. Well, it's not on
He's
screen,
off camera.
but it was the video that caught
It's
the
the
moment when it
reaction.
happened.
You see the muzzle flash.
Yeah, you see the muzzle flash and you see the reaction of the guy who's also in the room when it happened.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's,
And it hangs
it's
on
all
him, too.
Yeah.
completely
Hangs on
real.
Jude and I were just floored when we saw that scene
Flabbergasted.
because at
Absolutely.
least I didn't know it was coming. So when it happened, I was like, "Whoa!" Like I almost had the exact same reaction that the guy on the video had because he just like he covered his mouth, his eyes were like as big as dinner
And he
plates,
just sat
and he
there.
just sat there like
In
for
shock.
a bit,
Yeah.
and
good 10
Like in
seconds.
disbelief.
And then you hear him because they're interviewing him and they're overlaying the interview over the video. And he's like, you know, once my brain recovered, I thought that maybe it was a joke, like he was playing a prank. And he was like, okay, because they would play pranks like that all the time. But then like he goes to check on him and you see the video where he gets up and he's like stalking around, you know, and it was just like, it was so fucked up, man.
Yeah,
like everything about this documentary, like just a series of increasingly fucked up situations, like the polygamy, like the weddings with multiple people.
He made the Avenue 5 tri-marriage look normal. It was super weird. When I started watching it, I didn't know what to expect. I just saw everybody, Tiger King. You guys were all like, you got to watch this documentary. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Another reality TV show. So I start watching it. And to be honest with you, the first like 2 episodes, I think, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I didn't see the negative side of it yet. I was watching this. I'm like, okay, so this guy's just like a weird, eccentric entrepreneur who runs this petting zoo. And then it just got darker and darker. And every character and every person that they introduced into the show just got weirder and more in depth into like this terrible, terrible culture that they're all like sunk into and they somehow can't get away from it or they choose not to.
And they're all
I
either
couldn't
like
believe it.
criminals or con men
Yeah,
or like
it's-
egomaniacs.
Or drug addicts.
Yeah.
Like so there's this other guy in the documentary named Doc Ansel.
Is that
Ansel.
that's the
Ansel.
con man, right? From Vegas?
No.
No,
This
that's-
is the guy that rides in on the
Oh, the
elephant.
sex cult.
Sex cult.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
he's like this big new age guru. He's like 60 years old with this huge ponytail. He's kind of been Hollywood's go-to guy for like exotic animals.
Strong hair follicles.
Yeah, strong hair follicles. But Hollywood is like Jude showed me a picture of him in a Britney Spears concert, managing the tiger.
Oh, that was
I
on the
haven't showed you
VMAs.
this.
That was
I
on
did not
national
see
TV.
this.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I'll pull it
Yeah, so like Doc Ansel has this long history. Like he was on Jay Leno and David Letterman. And
Yeah,
stuff
like he was
that.
legit for a long ass time.
And I think he still is, but he's kind of like the top guy in this subculture where he raises these exotic animals and they use him to bring them into movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And he has this kind of weird new age cult where he hires all these like young women who are like just super big animal lovers, and he kind of grooms them into his cult and marries them and basically keeps them. It's almost like the Mormon way of polygamy, where
sister wives.
Yeah, you have all these sister wives who are basically like a workforce.
I don't remember anything about marrying them. I just thought he'd like.
No,
he gives them houses and.
No, they marry.
Yeah, they're married. And then
but another big thing is like he has them all get breast implants.
I was just gonna say that. That was super weird, man. She's like, yeah, I didn't really want
change
to,
their name,
but I did it anyway because I wanted a day off.
Yeah,
like if I get
he lets them rest for like 2 days after they get their breasts done. Which, if anyone's ever had a breast augmentation, it doesn't matter. But just want to go on the record. Mine are real.
Jude's natural.
But if you've ever had a breast augmentation, like you are down and out for like 2 weeks. You need bed rest. You can't do things. You can't use your arms because of the muscle that's connected. You have to rest for like 2 straight weeks. He gives them 2 days off.
Yeah.
But you know what was funny is, so the girl who was kind of spilling the beans on Doc Ansell's cult, because they were interviewing her for the documentary, like this girl who worked there for like I think 10 years and then she got away and stuff. So like she was kind of given the rundown of how, if you get these breast implants, like, you get some days off, and she was worked so hard that she just agreed to it, even though she didn't want the breast implants, just to get the time off. And then they start showing pictures of her, and she's like, but yeah, I look pretty good afterwards.
Yeah.
This whole show is just so weird.
But you know what? You know who Doc Ansell reminds me of? He reminds me of Mike Myers, the Love Guru. Kind of.
I never saw that.
Yeah, I remember. That's old. Yeah, that's a deep cut. Nobody remembers that Mike Myers movie. That was like the last Mike Myers movie, right?
It was
the last
Stop
Mike
making
Myers.
movies after that. Yeah,
it wasn't very good. But it just kind of reminds me because it's this hippie new age. He's got like a freaking yogi, almost like that show Silicon Valley, where you have like the Google guy who has like the spiritual advisor. Who's just this.
He's like what is he, a
bullshit
doctor
yogi.
of like mysticism or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's right. They did say that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, what's Doc Ansell a doctor of? And it's like, mystic arts.
Yeah.
But it was also funny because they'd ask people, it's like, how many wives does Doc Ansell has?
And they all had a different answer.
Everyone had a different. It's like, I think he has 5. No, he has 7. No, he has 12. Yeah.
That one dude is like, I don't care how he trains his tiger. I want to know how he trains this women. I was
Right?
Like, damn.
And they're all pretty attractive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for Doc Ansell, because he's no spring chicken. But it was funny because they were interviewing this other zoo owner, and he did business with Doc Ansell, and he's like, man, I don't care how he trains his animals. I want to know how he trains his women.
I just said that.
I know, but like I'm clarifying.
Oh, okay.
It's clarifying.
Matt keeps just repeating things other people say because
He just wants to talk about Tiger King.
he's like, I want people to think that I said this. I'm just going to say it again.
No, man, this show, I can't get behind it. I don't like it. I hated every minute of it.
It's
it was
fascinating.
It was 7 hours of my life.
You don't
I'd
like
never
anything
get back.
good.
Yeah,
It was not good. These people are terrible.
Remember how you hated C?
Well, C was bad.
Shut up,
C
Vader.
was fantastic. Shut your
C
mouth.
was amazing.
Shut your whore mouth.
I just couldn't.
I just hate watching that.
But I mean, like everything
Still
about this show was just so batshit crazy. Like Joe Exotic. So, who else? What other show can you get a main character who's a gay cowboy, magician, country singer, polygamist who runs for office
And gets 20% of the vote.
and gets 20%
Oh,
of
that's
the
right.
vote?
You said you were blown away by that, right?
Yeah.
That's 20% of the
That's
people.
crazy.
And it was funny because they interviewed his campaign manager, and the campaign manager was like, at a certain point when it looked like we were up in the polls, Joe turned to me and he was like, "Man, what do we do if we actually win?"
It's like when you're like in grade school and you have to choose a class president, and somebody just makes some bullshit name and puts it on there, and he wins
Yeah.
because everybody, who's this idiot? It's like, well, I don't know. Well, let's vote for him. That's basically it's crazy.
It's that shock factor
Yeah.
of like, oh, let's vote for the craziest person we
Yeah,
can just to
yeah.
see what happens.
But it was weird because Joe Exotic, he loses this big lawsuit against Carol Baskins, who's suing him for like copyright infringement and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah, because they ripped off her logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's basically like so he's basically bankrupt, and he's trying to hide all of his assets in order to keep her from getting them.
Puts it in his mom's name.
And he finds this investor who's like this really shady dude from Vegas. and the guy pumps a bunch of money into his zoo, and then Joe embezzles that money to run for office as a publicity stunt. Like, I think to the tune of $80,000.
Yeah.
Like he stole $80,000 from the zoo and put it in as an illegal campaign contribution into his gubernatorial run.
He made condoms with his face.
With his face on it.
His face on him.
Things are starting to come back to me now.
And then that
Lord.
puts him on the FBI's radar. And then they start investigating him for potential contract murder because he tries to hire someone to kill Carol Baskins because as a way to try to keep her from taking all of his money.
Yeah, because he had to end up paying her like every month. They had a set amount, right? They settled or something like that.
No, like they kept trying to settle, but then Carol Baskin, that bitch, kept coming back and kind of torpedoing the deal and wanting more and more from him. Like she kept making these demands where it's like, you're not allowed to do these things with tigers. And he's like, bitch, I can't pay you if I'm not allowed to do these things with tigers because this is how I make my money. And so like it was this weird catch-22 situation where like the bitterness was just like kind of compounding over time, and things were just getting like really like it's kind of depressing as you're watching the documentary, because when it starts off, you see his zoo and it's like a really nice zoo. The people who work there seem to be really passionate about it. Joe seems like a good boss. And then like as the show goes on and his money troubles start getting like super like dire, things just get so depressing. Like the zoo gets worn down, the animals don't look happy, the people who are working there aren't happy, and it just gets to this point where you're like, something's going to break, and it does.
I don't know about the good boss part, because well before he was losing money, when they started filming the documentary with that guy, the filmographer that came on board, like immediately, as soon as he had cameras on him, he turned into a complete dick.
He was definitely Looney Tunes the whole time, but he was still at least passionate about the
narcissist, though. He was
animals.
like, it's all about me. Like, as soon as, when that guy said, he's like, yeah, we filmed this scene where he was on this big throne, and we found him in the studio, like, watching it like a million times over and over and over again. I'm like, dude, the guy is nuts.
Yeah, but
he's like so obsessed, self-obsessed.
How about when his employee gets her arm ripped off and he's just like, y'all want a discount, or you want to come back another day? What do you want to do?
At least he was upfront about it.
He's like, she stuck her arm in the cave and it ripped it off. Like, of course that's what's going to happen.
But like when he first started the zoo, so he started in the memory of his dead brother, and it was really like he was very passionate about the animals. Like it was about treating the animals well, and he wanted to create awareness. So he went on the road to malls and schools and stuff like that, and had like this little show that he put on where people could get exposed to like tigers and things of that nature. And he would hire people who didn't have anywhere else to go, like people who came out of prison, who nobody was willing to take a chance on. Like he'd bring them in.
Yeah, because he could control them.
Well, I don't think it was like that at first. I think at first it was because, he not only could get cheap labor, but it was also a way for him to kind of help.
It was self-congratulating.
I
like,
think,
look, I'm helping this person.
I think
I know those type of people.
So he could control these people.
Yeah, there's no scenario in my mind is Joe Exotic a good guy.
I think that he morphed into someone who was very self-centered and selfish. But I think when he first started out, at least from the early video that they showed in the documentary, because a lot of the people that they interviewed that worked at the zoo were like, at first it was all about the animals, and that's what we were all there for. And then like as things got worse and worse, like Joe became more about promoting himself and stuff like that, and that's when things kind of started to go off the rails. So I don't think he was all that bad at first, but I think that once Carol Baskins started applying the pressure,
it's all her fault.
Yeah, it's all her fault.
That bitch.
That bitch.
Damn Carol Baskin.
I think Carol Baskin is getting a little bit of a bad rap.
I don't know.
Hell no.
Not only is she a huge hypocrite, she could be a murderer.
She's the only person in the entire show that everybody's like, fuck her. Everybody else is like, the past is the past. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, like the Scarface guy.
That guy went to prison and admitted he killed someone. And what did he do? Like dismember them or burn them up or something like that? He legit admitted that.
He dismembered an already dead body.
the inspiration for the film Scarface. And everybody's just like, yeah, bitch Carol Baskin, though. Like, come on. Patriarchy.
Hey, all you cool kitty cat kittens, meow meow kitty cat kittens. I don't know.
Gosh,
Vader, you're pretty quiet over there. you look like you got some thoughts, buddy.
she's guilty. She did it. She killed him.
Yeah, maybe. But she's not getting a fair shake.
Is it any
she
worse?
She's getting a fair shake.
I think they're all.
She absolutely is getting a fair shake. In fact, I think they're reopening the investigation.
In my opinion, they're all on the same level.
Yeah.
But it is funny how like everyone they interviewed just hated Carol Baskin.
Right. Yeah.
Except for her husband. Her husband's super loyal.
He loves her so much.
He sang to her.
No, he's just afraid she's going to feed him to a tiger.
I remember what happened to the last guy.
She probably tells him, it's like, you're going to be really good at this documentary because you know I fucked up my last husband and fed him to the tigers, and I'll do the same damn thing
She's
to you.
like, I got a shit ton of sardine oil, and you don't know where it is.
You can't testify me in court because you're my husband.
Dude, the interview that they did with that husband who disappeared, his ex-wife and children, was so telling because like they were all like, look, like Carol Baskins like threatened us if we like try to tell people that we think she's guilty, and
all about the money.
Yeah, and she just comes off like a huge hypocrite. Like she's trying to shut down all these other like exotic zoos, but she's doing the exact same thing that they're doing and making a ton of money off of it. And the only reason that she has the clout that she does is because she was one of the early adopters of social media. So she had a big YouTube following, she had a big Facebook account, and she was able to mobilize all these people who were like quote unquote animal rights activists, and put pressure on
PETA.
These others. Oh yeah, PETA did not come off good here. But it is funny how like Joe becomes like an inside informer for PETA. he's like, man, I'm gonna bring this whole castle crashing down.
That's a jet ski guy, right?
No,
that was
that's
Garrettson? James Garrettson?
No, that he was an informer for the FBI.
Yeah.
The big dude on the jet ski.
Yeah.
How about when they said that to John Finley and he was like, "What? That's news to me."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The guy with the lemur.
Yeah.
Gonna get me in for that lemur.
Oh, his papers on that lemur. That's what did him.
John Finley sold me a stolen Hummer.
People are just freaking caricatures of real life. It's so weird, so bizarre.
Yeah, it's all these weird business rivalries where like people like go into business together and then like they're like, this person's cheating me, and no, he's cheating me, and then they like become bitter feuds.
I'm waiting for the Tiger King Museum to open up down on Fremont Street.
He'd do well here.
That shit would go over real well.
He would. He would do really well in Vegas.
But it's funny because Joe Exotic's he's actually in prison right now.
Yeah.
Because he got convicted for attempting to hire
contract killer
to take
except
out
the guy
Carol
that he hired just took the money and ran, and nobody's
he took the money and partied it away.
Yeah, he went to
the
the strip
whole
club.
$3,000.
Yeah.
and then nobody said anything to him.
Yeah, they were all like, "Well, you didn't do it.
Yeah,
Pass." But that bitch Carol Baskin.
It's just
Like,
awful.
nobody likes her. Everybody hates her. Everybody does want her dead. But yet he went to prison for trying to kill her. It's bullshit.
But it was funny because like the way they were planning the murder, like they'd look at her they'd look
bicycle route.
They'd look at Google Earth and be like, oh, here's the lake that she bicycles by. You know, it'd be really good is if you hid in those bushes right there, based off Google Earth, and then just popped out and shot her.
It makes you wonder how many other hits have been set up on Google Earth. Like, damn.
These criminal masterminds.
It's a tool to use, man.
I mean, by that logic, shouldn't Google have been implicated in the contract killing?
Satellite images of everybody's houses and stuff. God. Yeah, I don't know. I'm over it. I don't ever want to think about this stupid freaking show ever again.
Can't wait for season 2.
Oh God.
Yeah, like I found the show immensely entertaining.
I'm sure. It's so terrible reality TV.
What's cool about now is when Carol Baskin does get arrested, it's going to be national news.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be hilarious.
It made the news that they moved Joe Exotic to isolation because of COVID-19. Like, that was in the news.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on?
And
we can't lose him. He's a national treasure.
And the story of
Crocodile Dundee. We got Joe Exotic.
The story of Joe Exotic getting COVID-19. And it was because of that bitch Carol Baskin who gave it to him.
She got it on an envelope and sent it to him in prison.
little sardine oil.
It attracts that COVID-19.
Tracks that COVID-19.
I'm done.
Maybe they'll like put him in a cell with that dude that was on How to Make a Murder.
Oh yeah, they share a cell together in Wyoming.
That'd be funny.
Dude, how weird were those glamour shots?
Probably
with him
gonna try
his
and marry him.
3 husbands.
Yeah,
They had like photo shoots of them like laying
pink
around frolicking
yeah,
shirtless.
shirtless. Well, have you seen his country music covers?
No, the covers?
Yeah, the
just
covers
bad-
of his country albums.
Like badly photoshopped tigers and stuff.
No. They're like these glamour shots of him in like a cowboy hat with his shirt open, and he's got these weird like tattoos of bullet holes in his chest.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were those real?
Yeah,
Those
I thought they were just
tattoos.
painted on for that one photo.
No.
no, they're actual tattoos. Like you see them throughout the documentary.
Wow, that's super weird.
Yeah.
There was did you guys notice that that suit that he was wearing, that priest outfit that he was wearing for the music video?
Yeah, what the
He wore that at his husband's funeral.
I know.
Like the music video
And then
outfit.
he joked about his dead husband's balls in front of that guy's mom.
What is this here, kitty?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he has a
What is
a
that?
Carol Baskin lookalike in his video.
Oh dear Lord!
And she looks exactly like
She
that
looks
bitch Carol
exactly like
Baskins.
she does.
You know this is what we're doing for Halloween next year, right?
This is our group outfit.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I think you should be
crazy.
Carol Baskin.
I want to. Hey, I want to be Doc Ansel. my hair follicles
Grow your
very strong.
ponytail out.
Ride in an elephant. I could have like one of those like elephant like leg suits. thing.
Shoot me now.
But
Incel.
yeah, Doc Ansel. All right, so we got to go around the table. Would you recommend Tiger King or not? I would highly recommend the show.
No, don't waste. Don't. Just don't. Run.
It's so good.
No, run.
He doesn't mean it. He's
Alex
just got
has bad
PTSD.
taste.
Go watch something else. Anything else. What about you, Jude?
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give this a 5,000. Watch it. Watch nothing else. Listen to the podcast about it. Go to the Twitter feed about it.
Binge this thing.
Yeah, go to the YouTube
Yeah.
where David Spade interviews all of the characters.
Yeah, all the cast.
Cast.
They
yeah.
are. No, they are
Yeah,
characters.
yeah. I think I was right the first time. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Look at the memes.
Oh, the memes for this have been epic.
Yeah.
Matt,
Sir.
would you recommend this to the Salty Podcast listeners?
Yes.
You dick.
Matt, is it stupid?
My daughter's the one that told me about it the first time. She, Dad, you gotta watch this stupid show. Like, what are you talking about?
That's apt.
Yeah. It is a stupid show, but it's phenomenal.
She's like a huge Joe Exotic fan.
yeah.
She wants to write him letters in jail.
Like just
Oh,
now?
I have his jail address. Does she
crazy.
want it?
She, can you get me this shirt for Christmas? I go, it's May or April or whatever.
But I need it.
It's like she sends me all these free Joe Exotic shirts on via chat and stuff. It's pretty funny.
So is this guy ever going to get out of jail? He's in
Oh,
there
yeah.
for
What
like
was his sentence?
22 years.
No idea.
If he's in there the whole time, he'll die in jail.
Nah, they'll get off probably 12 years. They don't ever serve their full term, do they?
That girl was a bitch anyway.
She deserved it.
Maybe. I don't know. Federal prison's probably different, though, right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't. You get off for good behavior.
But if he was smart, which he isn't, he'd start ramping up his merchandise right now.
Yeah, the entire time
Can he
was
profit
just
from
doing.
this?
Yeah.
He was doing things to spite Carol Baskin that really only screwed him.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Oh, yeah.
I
All
don't,
the evidence.
I don't know if
against
he can profit off this, but there's a ton of people out there that are.
it. His estate.
He can. You're not allowed to profit off of a crime you committed. So, like, if you're a murderer and you're profiting off of a tell-all book about the murder, you can't do that. But if you're just selling, like, T-shirts of
What I'm saying is you
yourself.
can go to Teespring and make it that bitch Carol Baskin t-shirt
and sell
and sell the shit out of it and
I
make
just
profit.
think we figured out another shirt to offer on the
Oh,
salty.
jeez.
on the
Hurry up
salty
before
nerd,
there's a
I'm sure
copyright
it's
on it.
already out there. There's no way. Yeah, there's no way I beat anybody to that punch. It's done. All right, that's it for freaking that show.